Now, one of the things that I would have you know is that when you're transitioning to business analysis or any other tech career, the game has changed. The focus has changed, especially for most employers. You need to know that the focus has changed. It has changed from, just looking at certificates and looking at degrees, and the focus has moved to skill and experience, right? You need to understand that people are no longer excited about how many degrees you've got. 360 degrees is fine. That's a circle. All right. They're not interested in how many degrees you've got. They're not interested in, you know, don't let me say they're not interested in your certificates. The certificates have a place. So, you know, don't let me say they are not interested. It has its place. But what actually employers are looking out for is your skills and your experience. And that is what I'm going to show you today. I'm going to give you practical examples of how we can leverage what we know, what we have, to be able to show that experience in the workplace or in the job market, to be able to transition to business analysis. And trust me, when you are able to get your foot in the door, that's all you need. Your foot in the door. Once you get your foot in the door, you're then able to navigate. You're then able to navigate from one role to the next role and move from there to maybe product analyst role, product owner role, product manager role, maybe up until you get to like a VP of whatever. If you want to stay, in corporate up until that time, you can always navigate your way up, right? But you have to start with a step in the door. You have to start with a step in the door, right? Uh, you already know this, that it's not the one that works the hardest that gets more compensated. If that's the case, those who are carpenters and those who are lifting bricks, they will be the highest paid because they do a lot of hard work. You see, but when it comes to business analysis, it's a lot of mental work. There's a lot of mental work. And, I got into this mindset of, when I first landed my first role, when I landed my first role as a BA, and I saw the amount of money they were paying me, it took me a while to to understand why they were paying me that much. It took me a while because I felt like I wasn't doing too, like I felt like my work wasn't too much. When you especially when you're coming from like this hustle background, right? When you're coming from hustling 10 jobs, 3 jobs, 2 jobs, and then you have this one job that pays you 180 grand, or you have this one job that pays you 150 grand, or you have this one job that pays you 100 grand, right? There's this shift that happens in your mind, and you are asking yourself, you're like, is this real? You come to that point where you're asking, is this really happening to me? Right? I was in that position for a long time. And then I understood that business analysis is not necessarily physical, it's mentally demanding. And you're going to see the reason why in a bit. You're going to see because business analysis has to do with recommending solutions, right? It has to do with interacting with people, especially people from diverse background. You have to be able to manage stakeholders. And there's a lot more that I'm going to be talking about in this introductory class about business analysis. So, in today's class, I'm going to be introducing myself first and foremost, so you have an understanding of who is talking to you. And then I'll give you an introduction to business analysis, help you see how you can take that and transition with no experience. I don't think we're going to take an intermission because I was supposed to just, run you through how you can enroll and things like that. But let's see, I will probably do that. And then we'll go into a practical session on Miro together. And then we can wrap this up in about an hour, 30 minutes or thereabout. Is that good? Is that good? Does that sound like a plan? How many of you are sticking with me to the end? Let me see. Let me see if you're sticking with me to the end. Put yes if you're sticking with me to the end. If you're sticking with me to the end of this class, let me know those that I'm speaking to. Da, da, da. Okay, I've got a lot of people sticking with me to the end. That's great. Lovely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good, good, good. All right. I've got a lot of people sticking with me to the end. So I can bet you it will be worth your time for sure. All right. So how many of you are new to business analysis? How many of you are new to business analysis? You put one in the chat if you're new to business analysis. Put one in the chat. One if you're new. If you're new. If you're not new, don't act like you're new. But if you're not new, right? I still have something for you anyways. I still have something for you if you're not new. Okay, let me introduce myself quickly. Like I told you at some point, I used to be a university lecturer. Even in the UK, I was an associate fellow higher education academy. So I was more like a research training assistant in uni at the Department of Chemical Process Engineering, University College London. I started teaching at the age of 15. So many people may say, how? But I don't know, maybe my principal at the time kind of had this third eye that I would be someone who is passionate about teaching, right? So that's how I started teaching physics at a very young age. I started teaching physics, and I've been teaching physics ever since. You can wake me tomorrow, I will still teach physics. I'll still teach physics, but you know what? I don't want to teach physics anymore. But I can still teach physics any day, anytime, teach physics and mathematics because I even taught that while I was in the UK hustling, right? That gave me good money in the weekend. When I taught physics and maths in the weekend in the UK, I could easily make £300 in a weekend just teaching physics and maths. I kid you not. Just in the weekend, I teach physics and maths and I make good money. All right. So I started teaching at the age of 15, like it or not. I am a senior product leader with more than a decade of experience in the digital space, building digital products that people love. I've worked with some of the best, some of the global brands that you already know, like Coca-Cola, Rogers, RBC, Barclays, ABB, Abbott, Cadillac Fairview, OLG, that gaming and gambling, OLG, Plus, you know, Scotia Digital Factory, name it. Okay, I've worked, and that's what consulting affords you. It affords you the opportunity to be broad, you know, to be able to see it, so you can come in and say, I've been there, done that. All right. I'm a certified BA, I'm a certified Scrum Master, I'm a certified product owner. And we just recently got nominated. We got the nomination for the Obsidy BMO Black Entrepreneur for the year 2024. And I'm excited that someone actually recognizes the impact that we are making. All right. Now, that is enough about me. Let's jump into business analysis. Okay, so let's start business analysis proper. So please pay attention because I'm about to take you on a journey. Okay, so please, please, please do pay attention. I just need that attention for the next 1 hour, and then I'll help you navigate this path very very, in an easy way. All right, so let's start with the definition of business analysis, like you would do in any other field. You know, you want to know what this thing is, right? You want to know what business analysis is. So I want to help you navigate that, and I'm going to do that practically if you stick with me to the end. So business analysis, I'm going to take that definition from the Barber Guide, which is the Business Analysis Book of Knowledge, version 3.0. So it's gone through 3 installments. Okay, it's gone through 3 installments, and here is the definition that they have. Now, the emphasis is mine, and I'm going to tell you why the emphasis, why I'm placing an emphasis on those things, right? So business analysis is the practice of enabling change in an enterprise by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders. Now, that is even very straightforward. If your mind is clear, you're not thinking of where the food is going to come tomorrow. If you look at that and listen and look at that carefully, that is already clear. It's clear. The definition itself is clear. I kind of understand what it's saying there. But you know, there's something about when a definition is clear and when it is utterly simplistic, right? Like it's, you know, you don't have to make an effort to understand, right? So that's where I want to take you to, where you do not have to make an effort to understand, where just looking at it, you kind of begin to tell what exactly business analysis is. And that will now be a very good segue for us to begin to make certain expositions around, how you're able to tally or take what you have currently or what you've done in the past and relate it to the subject matter. So let's proceed. So there are a few things that I've, called attention to. The first is the word change. The second is the word enterprise. The third is the word need. The fourth is the word solution. The fifth is the word value. And the sixth is the word stakeholder. Then there's another thing I'm going to tell you, which is not on my slide. Okay, so that's why you have to listen. There's another thing I'm going to tell you when I'm done with all of this. Okay, I'm going to tell you about business analysis context. And I'm going to tell you about context when it comes to business analysis. So you have to listen. Not everything is on the slide. The most important thing is what I say. Okay, the slide is just there as a visual cue. But the most important thing in today's class are the words that are coming out of my mouth. And the good thing is that you will get access to the recording. So if you get to miss one or two things, not to worry. I will provide you with the recording. Is that okay? So again, I'm going to read this slowly. Business analysis is the practice of enabling change in an enterprise by defining needs, and recommending solutions that deliver value, okay, to stakeholders. Have that at the back of your mind. Now, let's now take those emphasized words and now begin to dissect that. Let's begin to dissect it. So let's start with change. Now, when you talk about change can be seen in one of two ways. You are either creating something that is new. So if I create something new within the environment in which that thing is created, you will say that a change has occurred. Okay? A change has occurred. Now, you hear people say a lot of things like, you hear people say climate change. Now, I don't want to discuss whether climate change is a hoax. Okay, whether that's a hoax or not, I don't want to discuss that. This is not the forum for that. I have a lot to say about climate change. But when you begin to hear the proponents of climate change talk about climate change, what exactly are they talking about? They are talking of some sort of modification of what has always been, of what they've always known to be the weather like. Or the weather has always been like this, or the climate has always been like this, and then it's been modified over time because of certain things that humans are doing. That is what they say. Now, I'm saying that just to help you understand the context of change. So when anybody talks about change, like when you meet someone and say, you have changed though, you have changed though, what are you trying to say? It means that there's something new you are noticing about that person that was not there before. Or there's something about their mannerism, their panache. It could be anything about that person that has been modified. That has been modified. Somebody's saying their volume is low. Can you guys confirm that you can hear me loud and clear? I'm thinking it's from their device. Can somebody confirm that you can hear me loud and clear? Somebody's saying the volume is low. I want to be sure that's not from me. It's loud and clear. Okay, so Temi Tokwe, please, it's loud and clear. So maybe you want to step out and come back in. Aha. Okay, everybody say I'm loud. All right, I'm loud. I know I'm loud. All right, good. Okay, so, when you talk about change, you see a friend of yours and you say, oh boy, you don't change, oh, that guy, you've changed, right? What you're trying to express there is, I see something different about you. You see, I see something different about you. There's something maybe about what I used to know that is no longer the same way. It has changed. So change is really about creating something new that you're not used to or modifying that which was already there. Keep that at the back of your mind because that will be helpful for us to be able to make this very simplistic. Enterprise. When you hear the word enterprise, most of you know enterprise has to do with an organization. And an organization is nothing without process. An organization is nothing. Listen, take note of these things because when we go to Miro, I'm going to take you to Miro to the Miro board and we're going to do something practical. Does that make sense? I'm going to take you into a practical example today. Very practical. So you have to stick to the end. All right. So when you talk about, enterprise, you're talking about processes, you're talking about products, you're talking about people, you're talking about policy, because an organization is made up of this. You can't say you have an organization, at least you will have one product, right? You have one product, at least. It may be digital, it may be, and we're going to teach you about products anyways, in product ownership. That's one of the things we teach you in this course, product ownership. So we're going to teach you about products. So product could be tangible or non-tangible. But in an organization, for you to have an organization, is either you're talking about processes, product, people, policy, technology. Think about it. Think about an organization that does not have a product. Think about an organization that does not even have one person. Think about an organization that does not have one or two policies. Think about an organization that does not have processes. So when you're talking about enterprise, you're actually honing down on these things. You're talking about processes, you're talking about products, you're talking about people, you're talking about policies, you're talking about technology. Please have that at the back of your mind. Okay, because this will be important going forward. Okay, when I start making the definition simplistic, you would see how this fits into the equation. Now, when we move to need, what is need? What is need? Need is a problem that somebody has, and you want people to help you solve it. Or a problem that an organization is experiencing, and you want it to be solved. But sometimes need is not always a problem. In some businesses, need is not always a problem. Sometimes need is an opportunity that they have to cultivate. For example, they are making $120 million in a year, and they want to move to $240 million in a year. How is that a problem? It's not a problem. That is an opportunity. That is an opportunity they want to cultivate. You see, they want to cultivate another $120 million worth of opportunity annually. So when we talk about need within the context of business analysis, okay, it's not always about problems. It could also be about opportunity. So again, change, creating something new or modifying something that was already there. Enterprise is organization. An organization cannot exist without processes, cannot exist without products, cannot exist without people, cannot exist without policy, cannot exist without technology. And then there is the need, which is the problem to be solved or an opportunity to be cultivated. And then you go ahead and talk about the rest of the other keywords like solution. Now, when was the last time somebody gave you a solution? When was the last time? Anybody? When was the last time somebody gave you a solution and say, this is your solution? No, this is your solution. Now, because solution most times could be an approach. They could tell you, take this approach or take that approach. In fact, do you know that I need to even add something there? That solution sometimes could be another product, could be a product. You say, okay, take this thing, it's going to help you, right? So solution could be approach, solution could be design, solution could be technology, solution for a business could be features, certain features, could be, certain steps within a process. You see, when you talk about solution. And then when you talk about value, value is simply benefit. In the context of business analysis, it's always a positive outcome. These things I'm saying would help you understand what the next set of things I want to say. It's usually a positive outcome. And the way you define it is using some kind of metrics. And these are the things that is going to go into your CV. Like when you perform a process now, and now the process is more productive, you can quantify it and say it was 50% more productive, that 50% productivity improvement. Or you were able to decrease the churn rate by 20%. Or you were able to, gain a new market. You guys were able to onboard 50,000 more customers in that year. These are all values, benefit. So it means that within the context of business analysis, the things we are doing should bring about benefit that is quantifiable. And then when you talk about stakeholder refers to people. Stakeholder refers to what? Refers to people. Stakeholder refers to people. Give me a minute. I'm trying to see if somebody's asking a question. Okay. Stakeholder refers to people. That means anybody that has any connection with the change, has any connection with the need, or has any connection with the solution. You are referred to as a stakeholder. Let me explain. So if you have any connection with the change, meaning that creating something new, or you are part of the people that will be modifying it, or part of the people we are modifying it for, you're a stakeholder. If you have any connection with the need, maybe you're the one who has the problem, like a customer, for example, or the business, or the department, or whatever. If you have any connection with the need, you are a stakeholder. And then if you have any connection with the solution, so maybe you are the one that will be developing it, or you're the one that will be giving us, you have, there are some constraints that we should be aware of, or there are some compliance rules that we should be aware of, maybe the government. As long as you have a part to play in the solution, you are a stakeholder. So anybody and anything that is affected or that affects the work that we are doing is a stakeholder. Now, if you take all of these things and you put it together. If you take all these things now, let's take all that I have said, let's put it together so that it makes sense. You will see that business analysis is the practice of enabling something new or modifying something that already exists. Please follow me. Business analysis is the practice of enabling something new, which is the change, right? Something new or modifying something that already exists. So what that means is that when you become a BA, what you will be charged with will either be for you to create something new for that organization, or for you to modify for that organization something that was already there. So business analysis is the practice of enabling something new or modifying something that already exists in an enterprise, right? And I told you that enterprise is the same thing as organizations, and organizations do not exist except for their processes, except for their people, except for their products, except for their technology. So if you are making any change within the enterprise or modifying anything within the enterprise, what you are simply saying is that you are modifying within the processes, you are modifying, products. I know some people say, how are you modifying people? That's where change management comes into play. Because in modifying people, you are going to train them. And a business analyst, when you are done with whatever it is, whatever change you want to bring about, you need to train people. You need to put together a training manual. And so when you go to some of the job descriptions, you will see that in some job descriptions, they say you are able to create what? Training manuals. And that's why you have people there. So let's take that again. Business analysis is the practice of enabling something new or modifying something that already exists in a process. That means that in a project, you can actually be working on a process. In products, people, technology, policies, etc., by defining problems and opportunities. So the first thing you need to do as a BA is to be able to understand the problem, is to be able to understand the opportunity. Write that down, please. Because again, I'm going to come back to all of these things I'm saying for the practical side. Okay, for the practical side, I'm going to come back to all these things. Remember that business analysis starts with a problem. Business analysis starts with an opportunity. So it means that when you go looking for a job, what you are going there to go and convince them is that if you have a problem you want to solve, or you have an opportunity you want to cultivate, I can help you. I can help you solve that problem. Does that make sense? I can help you, cultivate that opportunity. So when you go for a business analyst job, that is what you are telling them. So what other way to get a job that solves a problem if you are not going to tell them you've solved a problem in the past? What other way to get a job that solves an opportunity or cultivates an opportunity if you cannot tell them or convince them that you have done the same thing in the past? So if you can sit in front of an employer, a potential employer, and help them understand how you solved a problem in the past and how you've cultivated an opportunity in the past, you are most likely going to get that job. That's what most people don't know. And we're going to go a bit deeper. Just don't worry. This is just the beginning. So it says, by defining needs and doing what? Recommending solution. So it's not just you going there and telling them, I have solved this problem. You need to tell them the solution that you brought about. What solution did you present? What solution did you guys, bring about? So that solution could be an approach. It could be the design. It could be the technology you worked with. It could be the features that you added. It could be the steps that you tweaked in the process. It could be anything. But you need to show them, number one, problems that you solved. Number two, the solutions that you brought about that delivered value. You get it. Number three, you need to show them the value of the work that you did. When you did this thing, what happened? Oh, the company moved from 20,000 customer base to 100. They leaped to 100,000 customer base in 3 months. Wow. Or that place that used to be 50% booked. They were able to move from 50% to 90% booking capacity. Wow. So the work that you do will deliver value to stakeholders, those with any form of connection to the change, any form of connection to the need, and any form of connection to the solution. So when you look at this and when you begin to define business analysis, you're looking at business analysis as the practice of enabling something new, which could be a new process, which could be a new product, which could be a new technology, which could be a new feature, which could be a new policy, or modifying something that was already there, which could be process, product, technology, policy. By first defining, understanding the problem you want to solve, understanding the opportunity you want to cultivate, and then by reason of the work you're going to do, which I'm going to tell you about, you can now recommend solutions, approaches, design, technology, features, products, steps, anything that will deliver the value that they are looking for, the value that these stakeholders you're working with are looking for. If that makes sense to you, please put yes in the chat quickly before we move to the next thing. If that makes sense to you, please put yes in the chat quickly. Put yes in the chat if that makes sense to you. If you understand what I just said regarding business analysis, please put yes in the chat. Okay, now, I know one simple definition that you've heard is that the business analyst is the middle guy, right? He's the conduit between the business and the technical team. That is true, but it's not in all cases, right? Because he may be working on a solo project that has nothing to do with the technical guys. So there's nobody he's reporting to. The most important thing you need to know about business analysis is that he facilitates change. Simple. And this change needs to deliver value. And the reason why he's even on that change in the first place is because there is a problem to be solved. There's an opportunity to be cultivated. Every other thing is extra. Now let's focus on the change. Let's focus on that change because he's a facilitator of change. He's an enabler of change. Change is typically carried out in the context of a project. And that is why, for those of you who have business analyst friends, when they want to talk to you, they will talk to you in the context of a project. How many of you have noticed that they will tell you, I have 2 projects that I'm working on. I have 3 projects that I'm working on. How many of you have heard that? You have like business analyst acquaintances, and they talk to you about projects. How many of you? Put yes in the chat if that's you. I want to be sure that we're on the same page. Yeah. So they talk to you from the perspective of a project. It is because the change that they are looking for, the change is usually carried out within the context of a project. Question is, what exactly is that? What exactly is a project? A project is just a series of activities that you complete within a given period of time to achieve a set of outcome. I repeat, a project is just a series of activities. So different people will come together. Okay, so number one, project involves people. You must know that. Project involves people. So this guy called the business analyst is not working alone. He's working with people. And if he must help these people realize the solution, he needs to make all of them align. He needs to align them. He needs to make sure that they all understand the same thing. And that is why a business analyst will document. That is why he's going to elicit. That's why he's going to make sure that he translates whatever he's hearing from whoever in a way that everybody has access to it, so that every one of us is on the same page. So there are certain activities that takes place within a project, because the project is the context or is the vehicle through which we are going to produce results. Is the context or the vehicle through which we are going to bring out the solution. Do you understand what I'm saying? So in business analysis, we will teach you about projects. In business analysis, you have to talk about projects. Any previous experience you have has to be modified into a project. That is the only way it makes sense. And in a project, you need to talk about, now let me now take you back. You need to talk about the problem that you solved, the solution that you created, what you did, and the outcome, which is the value. Don't worry, stick around. I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you that in a bit. Okay, just follow me gradually. So projects are important. In business analysis, we will teach you about projects. And for those of you who have seen our curriculum, if you've not seen it, that's fine. I can show you. The module 2 is about projects. When we give you experience, it's about projects. Why? Because you need to be able to talk about projects as a BA, what you did. So the change is typically driven in a project. And this project is a series of activities that you are going to complete within a given period of time. So they will say the project is 3 months, the project is 6 months, the project is 12 weeks, right? I remember for one big pharmaceutical, we had to release a product in 10 weeks. 10 weeks. Crazy. That's crazy. In 10 weeks, we had to release something. They put us under pressure, but we got it done. So a project is a series of activities that you complete within a given period of time to achieve a given set of outcomes. So my question is, what type of activities? Because there are different people in this project. The project manager has his own part. The data analyst has his own part. The scrum master has his own part. There are different people on the project. You see? So you're not going to be the only one. But you are the BA. You are the business analyst. So you have your own activities that you are going to be doing within this project, within this time frame. So what are the type of activities that a BA will be involved in a project? What can you expect to do when you become a BA? So all these things that Michael is saying, I will facilitate change, I will enable change. And what exactly, how do I do it? What will I be doing? What are some of the things that I will be doing? Okay. So let's talk about some of the elements of business analysis. What can you expect? What can you expect to see or have or do within the context of business analysis? At least the things you will do will be one of these things. The first is need assessment. And need assessment is everything that helps you understand the problem. Okay. So I give you a brief. Like I'm going to give you a brief very soon. Okay. So let me go on Miro. We're going to go on Miro. Oh, Miro has changed. They've changed their outlook. Okay. So you're giving a brief, like what I'm going to give you today, like this marriage booking ceremony. I'm going to give you a brief. Okay. Like this one that says the city clerk's office is responsible for civil marriage ceremonies. This is a real project. I'm telling you for fact. What I'm showing to you now is real. Like, this is a real one. Okay, so the city clerk's office is responsible for civil marriage ceremonies, weddings at the city hall. Clerks would like to improve the process. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? They would like to improve so there is an opportunity for improvement. There is a problem that they have. Now they want to improve the process for booking ceremonies online. Imagine that you are the business analyst who has been asked to write up the business requirements, and then you got this brief from the clerk through an email. Now you are working, and this is what this person sent to you in an email. He said, we have been looking at ways to streamline the marriage. Okay, so this is what they've been looking to do. They want to achieve this. We've been looking for ways to streamline the marriage ceremony booking process online. We want to create a paperless process where people don't have to come in to pay the deposit. We want to set up a website where people can fill out and submit the ceremony application online and pay the ceremony deposit online. And this is the explanation of how they do it currently. Remember that I told you that a business analyst would either be what? Creating a new process or modifying the one that was already there. Now, what do you think this is? Product, process, policy. What do you think we are working with now? Put it in the chat. What do you think we are working with? Is it a product? Is it a process? Is it policy? What are we working with here? What is this particular BA? What is it going to be doing? Now, is there a process there already? Is it creating a new process or is modifying the one that was there? I want that definition to come alive to you, to help you see what they do. That this BA thing is not the way you think about it. Are they creating a new process or modifying it? This particular project. Modifying, right? Good. So that is it. It is modifying something that already is, which is the process. So because they said we are looking at ways to streamline the marriage ceremony booking process online. We want to create a paperless process. It means that somewhere along the line, they've been using paper process, a paper-based process. So I want to create a paperless process where people don't have to come in to pay the deposit. We want to set up a website where people can fill out and submit the ceremony application form online. We want to create a process where they can pay the ceremony deposit online. And then he begins to explain what the current process is. Now, trust me, like it is in most of the projects you work on, the fact that you get a brief does not mean that you've gotten everything you need. I repeat that so that it sinks. The fact that you get a brief, like this is a brief from the clerk, right? The fact that you got a brief does not mean that you've gotten every single thing you need on that project. A brief is just a start point. It doesn't mean you got everything you need for that project. So that is why one of the things you're going to do is to understand the need better. It's to do needs assessment. And how do you do needs assessment? This is where we start teaching you about elicitation techniques, interviewing, asking questions, doing your research. Sometimes you have to do what is called document analysis, meaning going into some of the documents that was already existent. You see, you will be doing all of this so that you can have a better grasp, a better understanding. In fact, as part of the exercises that we may probably get to work on today, you would see that as part of the exercises that I want you to work on, you would see that here, let this come up quickly. What are some of the questions you would like to ask the business in order to learn more about how the marriage ceremony application process works? Meaning that I expect you as a BA, when you have gone through the brief, to be able to, if things are not clear, you need to ask questions. You're trying to assess the need. You're trying to understand it better. So let's get back there. So one of the things you can expect to do, don't forget, we're talking about elements of business analysis. Okay? So one of the things you can expect to do is needs assessment. Assessing the need. Now, trust me, as part of this need assessment, one of the things you also be doing is stakeholder engagement. So you see, like that clerk that sent you that email, there are certain things. I have not finished reading the whole circular. So when I read the memo, the whole thing, you begin to see that there are certain questions you should be asking. Because not everything is clear. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to show you that. Not everything is clear within the context. Not everything is clear within the context of what has been provided as the initial brief. And you're going to see that at your workplace. That you had a brief does not mean you got all the things you needed. You see, there's need assessment, there's need to engage stakeholders at different times. Does that make sense? So you either be attending meetings, and that's for those of you who have business analyst friends, you would hear them saying, I want today the meeting. Meeting was back to back. Why? Because they have to be on those meetings to engage stakeholders, to ask questions, to inform them and let them know what is happening, to exchange information. You see? So there will be stakeholder engagement. In fact, you are likely to even engage people they call difficult stakeholders. And in some interview questions, they will ask you, how did you work with a difficult stakeholder? How did you navigate it? How did you, we'll talk about that later. The next other thing you can expect to do is requirement elicitation analysis. This is where I tell you that your work as a BA is something for those of you who don't understand Pidgin English, I'm going to explain this to you. So it's called ameborism. Amebo, you're like an amebo, meaning that you gossip, you're a gossip, you poke your nose into people's affair. Okay, for those of you who don't know what that is, okay, it's Pidgin English, all right, from where I come from. It's called amebo. So if they say someone is an amebo, if I say Temitokpe is an amebo, it means that he's a gossip. He tries to poke his nose into people's affairs. Now, that is what you will be doing as a BA. But the truth is that you will be doing this and getting paid for it. You are getting paid, Temitokpe, not you. I met another Temitokpe. You are not the amebo. But you are an amebo in a good way, Temitokpe. You're a BA. Don't worry. All is fine. Don't worry. You're okay. I didn't mean it in a bad way. So you'll be doing what is called elicitation, collecting information, gathering information. And there are different techniques to doing this. And then once you gather that information, you will now analyze it. Try to see if it is complete. Try to make sense of it. I've always given this example of somebody who came to his street and then saw the police. He saw the police cars from the beginning of the street to the end of the street. Now, that happened to me. Beginning of the street to the end of the street. And he's wondering, why are the police here? Why so much cars? Why so much police on ground? What's happening? You see, you are curious. And then you start asking the neighbors. You start asking them questions, right? You start asking the neighbors questions. What happened? Why are the police here? And then the neighbor will say, it is your neighbor. How your neighbor? He killed his girlfriend. He killed his girlfriend. Oh, he killed his girlfriend? Yes, he killed his girlfriend. What? Then you want to ask more questions, right? Because you're curious now. Okay, what happened? What happened? Why did he kill the girlfriend? What happened? I heard it was because of the plate of noodles. The girlfriend was making noodles and he had always told the girlfriend to put, some carrots and some cabbage and some things in the noodles. And she just served the noodles just like that. Just like that. So because of that, he murdered her. I'm trying to comprehend it and I'm asking more questions. And I'm like, are you sure? And how did he do it? Did he strangle her? Did he shoot her or something? Of course, this may be in the US. With the US, it's just pow, pow. Any little thing, they get the gun and, it's terrible. So he gets the gun and it's a gunshot. I had a gunshot. I had 3 gunshots. I guess he killed her with a gun. So I'm gathering information. And then I go to my house and then I lie down on my bed. While on my bed, and I'm thinking, will somebody be that cold-hearted to kill somebody because of carrot? You didn't put a carrot in my noodles? I'm trying to analyze the information. I'm trying to see if it's complete. And then I hit my wife and I'm like, did you hear what happened there? And I'm trying to bounce that information up. Listen, all these things I'm telling you, just move it away from the police. I know you want me to write a movie now. All of you are thinking of Nollywood, don't worry. Let's move away from that context of the movie I'm giving you, right? Move away from the context of that and bring it into the business. It's the same way. The business analyst is going to meet with the stakeholder and ask questions about what he doesn't fully understand. Like when he's going through this brief, for example, he goes through a brief like this, okay? So let's make it a bit more practical here. So he goes through a brief like this one, okay, and says, oh, the current process, and they're telling him about the current process, that the person registers on the website for a ceremony date and time. See Exhibit 1 for screenshots. Okay, Exhibit 1. So where is the Exhibit 1? Exhibit 1, they said he can select the requested date is tentative. So let's look at Exhibit 1. So this is Exhibit 1. It's going to come up. It's going to come up shortly. It's a bit blurred. Don't worry, it's going to come up shortly. It's a bit blurred. It's taking time to load. I think I should have just so you can see Exhibit 1 where it says available. So they click on available, it brings this one, it brings this thing here. The fellow puts in their name and puts in their email. So this is the clerk explaining what happens now, the current process, okay? He's explaining what happens now. They put in this thing, and then let's go to the next one. And then he gets an email, a confirmation email. He gets a confirmation email. The clerk also gets a confirmation email. And then when the clerk gets a confirmation email, he will now send an email to the person and attach the application form. Can you see? The application form is manual. It's manually sent. It's not automatically sent. And then there's a lot of things he writes in that stuff about how to make payment, the deposit payment, when it is refundable, when it is not refundable. When you begin to go through all of this and you begin to have questions, this is where you now begin to elicit. You begin to ask questions. You begin to say, oh, I didn't understand what you mean by tentative. I didn't understand. What do you mean by tentative and confirmed? Because there was one place you said tentative. There's another place you said confirmed. I did the same thing. So is it when things are confirmed? Is that when it moves from available to booked? You see, because there are some things that he did not probably say during while he was walking you through this. So when you went back and started thinking about it, analyzing it, you were like, so what happens here? What happens there? You see, so part of the work you'll be doing, other than needs assessment, engaging the stakeholder, you also be doing some level of requirement analysis and elicitation, ameborism. And then documentation. Because you're working with people, there has to be a reference document. There have to be a reference material. If I leave this and go to Dubai for 14 weeks, there's something that holds the truth, so to speak, the truth for that particular project. And that's my documentation. So there's that aspect of the work that you do that borders on documentation, keeping accurate documentation, making sure that that documentation is up to date. And as you go along, you'll also be involved in what is called problem solving. It's one of the things you do as a BA. Problem solving. Now, this part I tell people, if you're an adult, if you're referred to as an adult, in fact, for you to even have that title of an adult, you should have actually solved one problem in your life. So everybody on this call, as long as you are an adult, you should have solved one problem or the other in your life. So you're okay and qualified to be called a problem solver. And listen, the phases you go through when you solve problems in your life is not different from the phases you go through in solving problems in organizations. Although some of these things will come with practice. And that is why we're here to give you that practice. Okay, so problem solving and research. And then there is the aspect of traceability and monitoring. So you're monitoring as things evolve, right? You're monitoring if there's going to be a change in the requirements. You're monitoring and tracing things back to the original source of the information and the information you got when this project started. Maybe things changed, within the course of the project. You need to be able to monitor those changes and update them. And then there's the aspect of solution evaluation, where some of you may be involved in testing, you may be involved in verification, you may be involved in validation, you may be involved in confirmation. You have to evaluate your solution. Some of you will be involved in benefit realization. Do you understand what I'm saying? So these are some of the elements that you can expect to be involved in as a business analyst. So question, with everything I've said so far, I know you're saying, but I already know this. Who is a business analyst? I know I have given you a lot up until this point, okay? But there's something I really want to help us, I want to center on. There's something I want to hone in on. Who is a business analyst? Now, according to the Bible Guide, a business analyst is any person who performs business analysis tasks, no matter their job title or organizational role. So it means that if you can perform a business analyst task, or you have performed a business analyst task in the past, maybe you have done some needs assessment in the past, maybe you've done some stakeholder engagement in the past, maybe you've done some elicitation in the past, you've done some documentation in the past, you've done some solution evaluation in the past, you've done any of these things in the past, and they did not call you a BA, don't worry. The very fact that you did those things means that you are a business analyst. So maybe in that company, you were driving change. Maybe in that company, you were improving business processes. Maybe in that company, you helped them to launch a new product or service. Maybe you help them to improve the current state of a product or a process or a service. Maybe you help the business to maximize profit and save costs. Maybe you made a process more efficient. Maybe you recommended solutions to prevailing business problems. Maybe you helped them to gain competitive advantage. Maybe you helped them to enter a new market. It could go on and on. I can go on and on. Listen, you are a business analyst if you've done any of this. And I know some of you in your current work or your previous work, you've probably done this. You've probably done something like this. In fact, let us see those in the audience. Now, if you've done 1 or 2 or 3, I want you to put the number. Look at these things. There are 9 of them. There are a lot of them. There's a lot of them. There's a lot. Okay, there's a lot. But I've just put 9 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I didn't number it, but 9. Now, let me see the numbers that you've done. If you look at this, you can say, oh, I've done 1, I've done 2, I've done 3. Can you put that number in the chat quickly? I want to see those who have done 1, you've done 2, you've done 3, you've done 4 of these. Somebody said 2. Thank you, man. Somebody said 7. Somebody said 9. All right. Yes, throw that in the chat quickly. Somebody said all. Somebody said 3. Another person said 7. Right? Now, if you've done any of these, you're a business analyst. You're a business analyst. It's simple. You see, there's this practice sheet that I have, this one that I have that highlights these things and helps you to be able to take it into an individual project. You see, this is where a mentor comes in. I can take what you have here and transition it into a problem. Remember what I told you? A problem, a solution, you see, what you did and the outcome. Did you remember that in the definition I gave you? Did you remember that when I told you to pay attention to these key things? Problem, solution. Because with business analysis, there's a problem you're solving. There's a solution, which is the change you're trying to bring about. And then there is what did you do? And then there is the value, the outcome. How many of you saw that in the definition? How many of you saw that in the definition? When I was telling you about the definition, I was telling you that for you to get a business analyst job, you need to be able to talk about your experience from the context of a project. How many of you heard that? How many of you heard that? You heard that? If you heard that, just put yes in the chat, just to be sure that you were listening. How many of you heard that? So listen, there's a framework to do all of that. So you can take a past experience and you can start from there and start defining the problem and opportunity. Then look at that past experience. And we've done this for several students. It's easy. You know, some of you may not know how to use what you have to get what you want. You define that opportunity. You move into thinking about, okay, what were the frustrations they were facing? You know, just in case you're not able to think about it, start asking yourself the question, what was the pain point? What were the things? Who were the stakeholders? Whether they were internal, they were subject matter expert. There is something you can use. When you begin to, you know, put everything together. Okay, so if I was a business analyst, what would I have done from the perspective of questioning? What would I have done from the perspective of elicitation? What would I have done in this or in that? You can map all of those things. Whether it is so this one is for if you worked on a product, if you know about a product. And then this one, 3B, is about if you're doing a process. Because with process, you're going to talk about the steps. It's easy to take what you have and translate it to what you want. You just need the blueprints, which I have helped more than 150 people in the past 3 years to achieve using the same blueprint, using a previous work experience. So that leads me to the next set of things I want to talk about, which is taking what you have and using it for what you want. Listen, in the definition I gave you about business analysis, if you go back to that definition that I gave you about business analysis, if you go back, you know, I told you, okay, that change will be carried out within the context of a project. It means that when you go on a job interview, what they want to see is what problem have you solved? What project have you been a part of? And when you talk about project, you are talking about these things. You are talking about the problem I solved, the solution that I created, what I did, and the outcome. Simple. Listen. This you know. This you know. In fact, this you know. But you see, what you did is what this 10 weeks is about. How to be able to take all of that and begin to talk about how you did it and what you did is what we're going to be teaching you in 10 weeks. That is why you are coming to the program. That's it. And if you can do that by yourself, no problem. Enjoy. We'll be happy that at least we showed you how you could get your, you know, how you could navigate the road. But if you think you need people to help you, that's why we are here. It's easy. I keep saying it. The opportunities are endless. You can take what you already have. Some of you are saying 7, okay? Okay? Someone says, I said 7. Someone said 3. Someone said, you know, there are problems you can identify from your previous workplace. There are products you can identify from your previous workplace. I can show you CVs that, okay, let me show you a couple CVs. Let me show you a couple things, and probably we'll begin to ramp things up. Let me show you things. Let me show you a couple things. Just give me a minute. Give me a minute. Let me just show you a couple things quickly. Just want to show you a couple things. Just give me a minute. But let me show you this one. This one we got from a recruiter. A recruiter sent this to us. And I just want to show you the importance of project experience. You're going to describe your project experience. There's no way about it. If a recruiter can tell us to do this for our students, that recruiter is not stupid. You have to. You will show the methodology, you will show all of these things. And if you check the curriculum, everything they're looking for there is taught within the curriculum. And then you can take that after 10 weeks and begin to take all the things you know and apply it into where you want to go to. Look at this guy, for example. I'm just going to show you a couple. Look at this guy, for example. I've withheld the name, but these are real CVs that got jobs. This one got a £74,000 job in the UK as we speak. He finished a master's degree, okay, at the university, spent almost 20-something thousand pounds trying to run that master's degree, and then came to us, spent how many bucks? About £850. And he was like, Michael, I wished I saw this first before I paid £24,000. What he paid 800 and something pounds for was what gave him a 74,000, and then they sponsored his visa. Now look at, he was a business development officer, a business development manager back home in Nigeria. This guy in a petrol station. I know that's going to blow your mind, right? In a petrol station. All he knows is about this petrol station. This other one is the experience he got from us. Okay? This one was the experience he got from us. But this one, you are also going to use your own previous experience. And that's what I'm telling you. Now, look at. When he was talking to me, remember I told you, it's either you are talking about you could either talk about a product or a process, right? A product or a process or policy or whatever it is. Look at either a product or you're planning to work on a product or a process or you are planning to work on a process, right? So he told me about one of the products that they use in their petrol station when we are having our one-on-one. So he told me about it and I was listening. And he told me about the petrol station management system. Boom, that was it. He told me about that and I said, hold on. Do you know everything about that product? He said, yes. He knows everything about the product. I said, if they ask you questions on the call now, like they are interviewing you, can you defend it? He said, yes. I said, then that's your pass. That's your pass to a new world. He said, how, Michael? How? I said, don't worry, chill. Now, if you look at this CV, guys, pioneer the digitization of operational management for Africa's largest petrol station. Now, for those of you who came to the webinar, I explained some of these things, right? So I'm not going to go into that. Go on the YouTube channel, look for that webinar. I discussed about it. I said a lot of things about how you can take your previous work experience and use that, right? But look at, I just want you to look at somebody who presented a CV like this to you. How on earth can you not be convinced to give him an interview? How? Especially when he now stands in that interview and now tells you everything. Because this is not something he made up. It is something that he knows. He worked with it. He's been working with this thing for almost 3 years at the petrol station. Or should I talk about this one? This guy. Worked in a pets company as a finance manager. But if I read this CV for you, you would never know. You would never know. Everything he did was a BA thing. And that is why when we say, listen, what you are actually coming on the program for is mentorship. Most of you already know some of these things. It's mentorship. And mentorship is not cheap. It's not easy, right? It's mentorship. He didn't know. In fact, I can tell you for sure that this guy had interviews every single week. I'm not joking with you. He's a product manager right now in Air Canada. Every single week. Look at, who would not believe this? And he can talk about it. In fact, I don't even know this thing more than he does. But he's a finance manager. Carried out options analysis for different EDI platforms and provided recommendations based on business goals. Worked with different departments within Pet Value to understand the pain points associated with using. Now, he's not talking about the activities. Which are the things we're going to groom you on? He's not looking for how you can take that experience and superimpose it on what he has now known to be the works or the workings of a business analyst. Created interview guides, because within the context of the 10 weeks, we will teach you what an interview guide is and how you use that for elicitation. How you can practically use that for elicitation. He created interview guides and carried out interviews with head of departments. Head of departments? How many of you have seen, job descriptions that is asking you for experience relating with executives? This one will come in handy there. Head of departments and direct users of the system to gather requirements for their EDI configuration. In fact, when he was telling me about this EDI, it was the first time I was hearing it, the EDI. Although I knew of the ERP, but he was telling me because he was using it, they were configuring it for him as a finance manager, but he understood it. So we needed to use it within the context of business analysis. Remember, I have said that wherever there is a problem, so problems are not a bad thing sometimes. Wherever there's a problem that we can articulate, a solution that you can demonstrate, and the actions that you carried out, and then the value, the outcome that you were able to produce, a project is there. There is a project there. Whether it is a project you did on our platform, something you did from your previous life, there is a project there. And that is why we tell you can transition with your previous experience. Just need the necessary guidance to help you see how that is possible. How that is possible. Okay? Okay, I wanted to quickly show you, another example quickly of another example of a typical project that we did on the platform. Give me a minute. And I think I've shown this before for those of you who attended the work experience webinar. I showed you this already. Okay, this is a project that this guy did on the platform, because we are building an LMS right now. We are building an LMS, an integrated center. So I can show you what that is. So just want to show you that you may not even, okay, if you say you don't have experience, then we can give you the experience. We can put you on a project, help you to work on that project, and then, give me a minute. We can give you a project, help you to work on that project, dashboard. Okay. And then you can talk about what you did. Simple. As long as there's a problem that we are solving, okay? As long as there's a problem that you're solving, there's a solution that you're trying to, this is the project he was talking about, this particular project here. Building the LMS, integrating it with, because we are building one for the skill garage, right? So the guy is involved in this project now. And I gave them a brief. I'm going to show you that brief quickly. Okay, I'm going to show you the brief, just like you'll be giving a brief in your company. So I'm just going to quickly show you the brief and put one or two things together, and I'll be out of your way. So we gave him a brief, the project brief. This was the project brief for that. This was the project brief. The problem we are looking to solve and the solution. And every project that we give our students usually come like this. There's always a project brief. I can show you myriads of the projects that we do. Okay. So we talked about the TSG redesign project, and then the problem and the solution was given to him. And then from there, you begin to work out your way, doing like needs assessment, remember? Requirement elicitation, you remember? Okay, doing all of those things I told you. Now, he gets to the point where he now needs to talk about what he did. Look at the same thing that he did on the platform. And this is what got him a job. This is the same thing that got him a job. Remember, talk about the problem, talk about the solution, what you did, which is what we're going to be teaching you, and then the outcome. So he starts that his client was in the EdTech Academy. It was in the EdTech space, right? So this client grew exponentially within the last 18 months, and we're looking to build a custom LMS. LMS, for those of you who don't know, is a learning management system that could accommodate their growth, that could simplify their workflow, combine and utilize student data from multiple channels to provide guided, personalized and trackable learning experience for the candidate. And it is true because he understands what he's talking about. Now, look at, he's trying to talk about the problem he solved. And that is why I tell you, when you want to get a job, you need to tell them of the problem you solved. So he starts and says, they were looking to solve a couple of problems. Now you get their attention. What problems are they looking to solve? Fragmented or siloed data on different platforms that could not be used for personalization. Now, somebody's asking, what is that? What is the meaning of fragmented or siloed? Because you need to use the language. Now, let me break. How many of you know what that is? I'm sure most of you will be looking and like, but if you say this on a job interview, you are most likely going to be at the top. But let me explain what that simple thing is. That thing that looks so simple. That thing is so simple. Let me explain what it means. So on our platform, we have different platforms. Our students are on Bootcamp. I showed you Bootcamp, right? They're on Bootcamp. They come on the live sessions on Zoom, right? They're on Telegram. They're on WhatsApp. They go on Samcat to watch the videos. So you can see that we have different data from different places that is not able to speak to one another. So for example, how can I tell who came to class in the last 3 weeks and who didn't come to class in the last 3 weeks? The Zoom data is supposed to tell me that. The Zoom attendance is supposed to tell me that. But how do I cultivate that data into a centralized place where I can see the footprint of this student on the platform? Are you understanding what I'm saying? Some people send us messages through Instagram and all of that. How do I take that information and bring it into a centralized data center where I can give them an experience that will suit them? People watch videos on Samcat. How am I able to take that data, harness that data, and use it to personalize an experience for them? So you can see that now there are fragmented and siloed data on different platforms that cannot be used for personalization because of the siloed. That is all. You see that big grammar? That is it. Is it? How many of you understand that first problem now? Fragmented or siloed data on different platforms that could not be used for personal. How many of you understand that first problem? Put one in the chat. Put one in the chat. If you understand that first problem now that I explained, put one in the chat. How many of you understand that? Okay, so did you understand it before now? When I read it to you, did you understand it before now? Did you understand that did you understand it before now? When I said fragmented or siloed data, did you understand it before now? So you can see that, sometimes you can have an experience. You just need somebody that can help you make it into gold. That's it. I can bet you that most of you on this platform already have experience. Like you've said, 2, 3, 4. I've done 7 of these things and all of that. You just need to be able to move that. And that is where your advantage lies. So he goes and says, this is the problem. Most of the workflow processes are manual and cumbersome. The user experience is terrible. There's quite a lot of lead loss through their customer acquisition pipeline. And then he begins to talk about how they want to solve it. They want to build a robust element that will capture the student's digital footprint. Look at the words. Digital footprint during their lifetime on the platform to provide personalization, a platform with centralized data center, business automation is the same way you are going to present yourself. And that is what this guy did, presenting himself, presenting the problem, presenting the solution, presenting what he did, and then presenting the outcome. And this is what we help you with on the platform. Okay, let's begin to round it up because I need to let you guys go. All right. So let's begin to wrap it up quickly. And on Saturday, we're going to continue. We're going to take it up from there because we have another class on Saturday, and you're very welcome to be a part of that class on Saturday. Okay, so we've talked about this, that if you've done any of these, you are actually a BA. All right. And so what are the roles and the responsibilities of a business analyst? What can you expect to do as a business analyst. Now, as a business analyst, you will be justifying the need. We're going to talk more about that in our module 3. Okay. What do you mean by justify the need? You'll be doing business case. Business case. A business case helps you justify the need, right? You'll be doing a business case. You will define the need. Okay. You have to define the need. What is the need? Like what I was showing you right now, you need to do needs assessments to be able to define the need, okay, and define what they want to do. For example, the current state and the future state. You'll be managing stakeholders. You'll be facilitating meetings. You'll be gathering requirements. Ameborism, you see? You will understand pain points. You will question and challenge requirements sometimes. You will confirm requirements. You will analyze requirements. You will document requirements. You communicate requirements between the business and the implementers. You will help team and stakeholders understand the requirements. You will monitor and track changes in the requirement, and you will test solution to ensure it meets the requirements. And you also enable a successful change. These are most of the things that you're going to be doing within the context of that project. And you can see that a whole lot of them has to do with requirements. What is requirements? Requirement is actually the usable representation of a need. For example, if I am hungry, the usable representation of that hunger is that you give me food. So giving me food, or the requirement for a food, that I want to eat food, is a requirement for me to meet that need of hunger. Does that make sense? So when I have a need, requirement is what helps me to satisfy the need. So as a BA, you do not stop at the need. You begin to, after understanding the need, you need to start understanding how you can solve that need through requirements. And most of those requirements are going to come from people. And this is one of the things I'm going to teach you on Saturday. I'm going to show you on Saturday why you do not need to be an expert to be a BA. I will tell you some of the competencies of a BA. You don't need to be an expert in a particular field to be a BA. No, 1,000 times no. You don't need that. Okay? Like they say, come as you are. Come as you are. Come as you are. All right. It's almost for those of you in the UK, it's almost 9. For those of us here, it's almost 4. I wanted us to get a bit more practical, so get into the practicality of the work itself. So I'm going to go into the process itself. You see that exercise that I was telling you? We're going to go into the process. We're going to look at the problem. We're going to look at the solution. We're going to look at what you will do. We're going to analyze it together. So on Saturday, this is what is going to happen. We're not going to do that today. Okay? On Saturday, it is not going to be a webinar. It's going to be open to everybody, right? So we can come together and do the work together. All right? I want to show you the practicality. It depends. It depends. Don't let me say it may not be a webinar. It may be a webinar. It depends on how many people are on the call. But one of the things that we're going to get out of the Saturday class is that we are going to do something more practical. All right. So we're going to go on Miro. We're going to work through a practical example showing you, what a BA would typically do. All right. To be able to move from just having a problem statement and then moving into the solution. What kind of questions are you going to be asking? How do you develop the psyche for that question? How do you, come into the mindset of a BA to begin to ask those questions? All right. We're going to be talking about that on Saturday. All right. So, this is where I'm going to hang the boot for today. However, before we go, just want to walk you through what the program entails. For those of you who are asking, what exactly would I be learning? What exactly would I be getting in this boot camp anyways? Okay, here it is. Okay, you'll be going through, the very foundational and the basics of business analysis. All right, so we're going to work you through the basics of business analysis all over again. All right, from next week. From next week, we're going to start module 1 brand new, like all over, like brand new, right? For those of you who are coming on the program. You're going to be talking about the concept of change. Of course, I've told you about business analysis today. I'm going to tell you a bit more next week. All right, we're going to talk about stakeholder management. We're going to talk about competencies of a BA. And then in module 2, remember that I told you that a BA actually carries out the change in a project. So we're going to be teaching you about projects, like project management lifecycle, software development lifecycle. What is this? The software development environments, waterfall and agile, minimum viable product, and all of these things you would need to be able to navigate your way. And then we'll be talking about requirement engineering and diagramming, okay? You would learn to do, things like this. Let me see if I can show you a couple of things that you would learn to do. Okay, you would learn to use tools like this, okay? Give me a minute. You would learn to do things like this. Let me see if this open from library. Okay, so you learn to do, give me a minute. Just want to show you some examples of some of the diagrammings you will learn to do. Let's see if this one works. Okay, you'll be able to learn to do things like this, all right? You'll also be able to learn BPMN. Okay, BPMN, and you'll be able to learn to do things like this. Let me see if I can show you some things from BPMN. Hopefully this works. Oh, that's not working. Let me see if this works. Okay. Okay, so you'll be able to learn to do diagrams like this, which will be part of the work you do as a BA. Part of the things you do as a BA. You'll be able to do diagrams like this, flow charts, BPMN, requirement elicitation, the documentation, and the different types of documentation, DOD, DOR, test cases, business cases, RFX, the RFIs, the RFPs, the RFQs, and then use the tools from Jira to Confluence to Miro. I already showed you Miro. You're going to learn to collaborate on Miro, and then to use Figma for design, all right? For most of the projects we're working on, we typically host them on Figma, all right? You learn to use Draw.io, which I just showed you right now, or Visio, all right? You learn to use the tools for the trade. And then we're going to teach you extras like technology for BA, how to talk like a BA, how to understand some of the technical terms and some of the technical stuff, that people use in the workplace, right? You're also going to be learning that from APIs to server to front end to back end to responsive design. You're going to be learning all of this, all right? And then a bonus, you're going to be learning product ownership, meaning that you can apply as a BA and as a product analyst, as a product person, right? You can be a digital solution analyst, right? So you can be a product owner. So we're going to be teaching you everything from product to visioning to strategy to, some parts of product management, life cycle, user personas, user journey maps, product prioritization, and product road mapping. In fact, if you go on all the things that I'm saying right now, if you go on LinkedIn, okay, if you go on LinkedIn and go check out a job right now. So let's go on LinkedIn quickly. Okay, let's go on LinkedIn right now. Let's go on jobs. Okay, and let's go for like product owner, maybe in the United States. Now, this is going to be affected by my position because it's going to be showing me head of products because of the kind of jobs that I'll be qualified for. So that's what, it's showing me. But let's go for the ones that are a bit not director level and all of that, right? Okay, let's talk about all of those ones. Okay, you can see what you will do. What you will do. Responsible for ticket creation on features and maintaining product backlog. Product backlog. So meaning that you'll be doing backlog management. You'll be maintaining, the product backlog. Basically, that's what you'll be doing. Maintaining the product backlog. And this is what you do practically on your projects on Jira. On Jira, you're going to be maintaining the product backlog. Can you see the backlog there? You're going to maintain the backlog from the backlog to the sprint. In fact, this one is just a very simple role. You assess and improve product processes and workflows. You will triage and create bug tickets. You know what it means to triage? Triage is also part of prioritization, right? You triage. You will prioritize product feedback and feature requests. You would, work on the roadmap planning. All that we do here in the product, you do road mapping, okay? Product road mapping. You will do prioritizations. Everything that you will do in a typical product owner job. So you're not just going to be looking for a BA role, which is fine, okay? You're also going to be doing what a product owner would typically do, okay? Product backlog, you can see all of that, all right? In fact, in some of these things, you're going to be seeing things like agile, you can see agile methodology, Scrum framework, product management tools, all right? Artifacts, such as release notes, training guides. You were there when I told you, I was talking about training guides earlier today. How many of you were there? I was talking about training guides, when you are training guides for people. All right. This is what a product owner would typically do. But there is more. Okay. There are some that when you look at it, they talk about product vision, product strategy, product prioritization, and that is all that we give you within the 10 weeks. Within these 10 weeks, we're going to be teaching you all of this. All this, in fact, for those of you in the US, I should look at the ones in the UK. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Most of the things that you'll be learning, you can, and the salaries are very enticing. Look at this one from Stripe, $180,000 to $270,000 in a year. Can you see that? In a year, they'll be paying you that for the work you'll be doing, okay, on here as a product owner. You'll be doing all of these things. So it's just one thing, business analysis is just one part of what we're going to be teaching you. Product ownership is a second thing. So you can put both together and have more opportunities out there in the market. And as part of what you also get the interview preparations 101. You also get access to the resume clinic 101. You get access to on-the-job support. You get access to our referral system, okay? But sometimes we have some alumni that bring job to us based on their network. And then we also, forward our students for those jobs. So we have a network of alumni where we can have a referral system for you to apply to certain jobs. Okay, and then you're going to be doing, of course, hands-on experience. So what's the purpose of going through this whole thing without necessarily doing a hands-on? So you're going to be doing hands-on experience on all of these, is what you'll be experiencing, what we'll be giving you within the context of the project. Now, what exactly does this cost? Quickly, I'm going to tell you the cost and I'm going to drop that in, and that's where I'm going to end for today. And then on Saturday, you can use the same link. We're going to be using the same link for Saturday. Just give me a minute. We're going to be using the same link for Saturday. Okay, so for those of you, the business analysis, which is what we're doing, the bootcamp, okay, our regular price is 1,890 Canadian dollars. But like I said, from now until Tuesday next week, we'll be offering you a 20% one-time payment discount, and that will bring the price to 1,512 Canadian dollars. All right, now you may be asking, how much is that in the UK? Now, this particular link, you see this link that we're going to be sharing with you, it will give you the amount in your currency. So if you are in the UK, it's going to give you the amount in your own currency. Okay, for example, if I act as if I am in London right now, so let me do that. Let me act as if I'm in London right now. I'm going to turn on my VPN. So I'm going to act as though I'm in London right now. and you would see the pricing for that. So I'm acting as though I'm in London. I'm going to refresh this. So it's going to show me the amount in pounds. I'll come in here and I'll put off 20, and I'm going to apply that. And then you can get a discount, all right, on that price. So it's going to be the equivalent of what you have anywhere in the world. So if you're in Australia, it's going to give you in Australian dollars. If you are in US, it's going to give it to you in US dollars. All right. So if I act as if I am in the US right now, so let me act as if I'm in the US right now. So give me a minute. Just going to act as if I'm in the US, change my VPN to act as though I'm in the US. So if I act as though I'm in the US right now and I refresh this page, it's going to show me in US dollars. Can you see that? And then I can also put in the same stuff there, and it will give me the amount in the final amount I'm going to pay for everything that we are offering. Okay, the final amount you're going to pay. Now, if you're making a 3-time payment, you can also make a 3-time payment. Like I said, for those of you who are doing a 4-time payment, you have to reach out to us, but there will be no discount because you're spreading it beyond that time name. Now, for those of you in Canada, there is an opportunity for you to spread it beyond 4 months. Okay, so you can do 6 months or 12 months. You just need to reach out to us. We'll tell you how to do it through a firm. So you're going to be going through a firm. So our firm is going to help you split it in 12. We don't have for the UK yet. Okay, but for those of you in Canada, you're able to use a firm to, if you qualify, they'll give you to spread the cost over 12 months. Okay, does that make sense? So, but we don't have that for those of you that are joining us from the UK. Now, if you're doing the 3-time payment, you can use off 15, and then you can also, apply the discount and make your payment. It is charged every single month. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share this with you. Okay, I'm going to share this with you quickly, and you can see the pricing there and the link to payment. So you can take that's the link to payment here. This can link to payment. Now, for those of you who say, I've done a training before, I need to do maybe a practical, I need a self-paced course, I need a self-paced course and all of that. You can also, if you want to speak with us on WhatsApp, it's also in the sheet. Okay, so you can click on that and you can talk to us directly on WhatsApp. So all you need is this tiny sheet that I have just sent to you in the chat. That tiny sheet contains almost everything. And then for those things you don't see a link for, reach out to us directly. And there's the support here to reach out to us directly. And then we can have a conversation. All right. So I will see you on Saturday, and we're going to take it from here. We're going to get practical on Saturday, and we're going to do more practical stuff, showing you how you can exactly leverage what you have to be able to become a business analyst. That's all that I have for you today, and I hope your time has been well spent. If your time has been well spent, put yes in the chat. Let me see. I hope I didn't waste your time. I know I don't waste people's time. I never waste people's time. I give people value. I give people value all the time. Even on free sessions, I give you value all the time. All the time. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And ensure you make your payments, ensure you take advantage of the discounts that we are providing you, and then I'll see you in class and help you get your success story. Bye for now. Adios. Bye for now.